home, and you're very welcome today for this 30-minute practice. And we're not going to be focusing on anything in particular today, just doing a little bit of everything. We'll have some fun with some core work and some planks and things like that. And if you can make sure that you've got a wall nearby. So I'm going to use this one here, as long as you've got a wall nearby with a little bit of space, and we'll be having fun with that during the practice today. So before we start to begin moving with our asana, or postural practice, if you just want to come to sit in a comfortable seated position, whatever works for you in this moment today. You can be cross-legged, you can be seated on the back of your legs and your heels, perhaps seated like me here in Virasana, our hero's pose, sitting between your feet if it's good for your knees and your hips. And just take a moment to settle in to your mat here today, or whatever your setup is at home. Really ground and root down into the floor, the earth, the mat, with your lower body. Your upper body sitting nice and upright, your spine tall, hands placed wherever they need to go. Your eyes can be open or closed, entirely up to you and how you feel in this moment. Start to perhaps connect in with your breath, whether that's the sound of the breath moving in and out of the nose, the physical feeling of the breath coming down through the lungs, the chest, the ribs, expanding on the inhale and contracting on the exhale. And just notice how you're breathing in this moment here today. Just observing. Putting aside whatever you've been doing up to this point today, or whatever else you have to do on your to-do list later on, and just dedicating the next 30 minutes or so to yourself and this practice. So let's use a simple breathwork technique to perhaps help you settle in and let go and arrive. So emptying out your lungs completely through the nose. Breathing in strong and deep through the nose, filling up the lungs completely. Opening the mouth and sighing out the air. Emptying the lungs. Breathing in again through the nose. And sighing out. As loud or as quiet as you'd like to hear. One more like this. Breathing in through the nose. And let go. Letting yourself settle, arrive. And be present in this moment here with your body. If your eyes are closed, gently blinking them open to find yourself back in this space again. Hello. And without any rush at all, come from your comfortable seated position. Let's come to stand at the top of your mat, or whatever your setup is at home, in Samastitihi. Hopefully I'm not being cut off, or if the top of my head is cut off here in the camera view, don't worry about it. You don't really need to see my head. So come to stand in Samastitihi, so big toes touching, space between your heels, your legs are active and engaged. Chest nice and broad, roll your shoulders maybe up and squeeze them and then roll them down your back. Bringing your arms alongside your body, fingers lightly touching, and your chin parallel to the floor. Imagine that you're lengthening down past your feet and up past the crown of your head. And so to warm up the body a little bit, we're going to do a couple rounds of Surya Namaskar A, or Sun Salutation A, and we're going to just modify it slightly. So, standing here in Samastitihi, preparing and exhaling, emptying out your lungs through your nose, grounding to those feet. Inhale, palms together, hands overhead, gaze to the thumbs, lower ribs in. Exhale, hinge at the hips to fold forward into Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, come up halfway. Shoulders in towards the back. Exhale, fold forward, walk or step your feet back into a plank position here, holding here, stacking the elbows and the wrists underneath the shoulders, inhaling. Exhale, drop the knees, lower the chest down towards the floor, squeezing those elbows in towards the ribs. Coming to the top of your feet, inhale, pulling forward and through. Bhujangasana, or Cobra. Exhale, lower down, tuck the toes, come back to Child's Pose and push up. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. For 1, sending the heels to the floor, doesn't matter if they touch or not. 2, fingers nice and spread. 3, 4, 5, exhale, bend the knees, tuck the pelvis, look between the hands. Inhale, step forward to come to the front of your mat, into Ardha Uttanasana, back nice and flat. Exhale, folding forward, Uttanasana. Grounding to those feet, inhale, slowly ride the breath to standing. Gaze up to those thumbs, lower belly in and up. Exhale, Samastitihi. So, second round. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, folding forward, hinge at the hips. Inhale, come up halfway. Neck nice and long. Exhale, walk back. So plank position, holding here. Activate those legs, push back into the heels. Inhale. Exhale, lower the knees. Lower the body down, empty the lungs completely. Then inhale, forward and through. Cobra position. Exhale, lower down, tuck the toes, push back to Balasana or Child's Pose, and up into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. For 1, 2, 3, imagining your hips are being pulled up and back, really activate the legs here. 4, 5, bend the knees, tuck the pelvis, look between the hands. Inhale, step, walk or hop forward, straight into Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, folding forward. Ground into those feet. Inhale, ride the breath up. Exhale, Samastitihi. So, hopefully you're feeling a little bit more warmed up now. So let's do a couple standing postures. And we're going to work with the Virabhadrasana or warrior series. So hopefully either during these asana or afterwards, you're going to feel like a warrior. So we're going to start with Virabhadrasana A or warrior 1. So standing here in Samastitihi. And this posture here, warrior 1, it's strengthening. It's also a back bend as well, if you're not familiar with it. So bring your hands on your hips and step your left foot back. Keep your heels in line here. And you want to drop into that front leg. Bend into that front right knee. Now what's going to tend to happen is the left hip is going to go back. So bring that left hip forward. Ground the outside of that left foot into the mat. You don't want that foot to lift up. You can keep your hands here on your hips if you like. Chest nice and broad, spine tall. Otherwise, your next inhale, bringing the arms up and overhead. Gaze up to those thumbs if it works for your neck. Really ground into the front big toe. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhaling, hands back to the hips if they've been up and overhead. Inhale, step forward, and exhale. So, we're going to do that on the other side. Left leg forward this time. So, stepping that right foot back, line up those heels. The back foot's at sort of a 45-degree angle. And once again, make sure that that right hip is pulling forward. You'll really feel the difference in that hip flexor, the top of the front part of your leg here. You'll really feel that stretch and opening there as you drop into that front leg as well. And again, you might want to widen your stance or shorten it depending on how you feel with the hip flexor, and you really want to straighten that back leg as much as you can. And perhaps in your next inhale, reaching those arms up. Gaze to those thumbs for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On your next exhale, if your hands are up, bringing them down to your hips. Inhale, step forward, and exhale. Release. So we're going to do Virabhadrasana B, or Warrior 2. So that's going to be similar sort of pattern with your feet here, but this time we're going to open up to the side of the mat. Okay, so let's start with that right leg forward. So you're going to step the left foot back, keep those heels in line, drop into that front right knee. You might want to widen your stance here depending on how you feel today. And this time you're going to turn the shoulders to the side of your mat or whatever you're working with at home. Don't worry about squaring the hips. And on your next inhale, bringing those arms parallel to the floor, imagining you're sending the energy past the fingertips. So you're pushing into that back heel, the outside of the left foot, really switching on that front right leg here, lifting up, shoulders over the hips, arms nice and strong, gaze over those front fingers for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, hands to the hips. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, release. Okay, hopefully you're starting to feel like a warrior. And so this time, left leg is forward. So step that right foot back, heels in line, check your alignment here. How are you set up with your lower body? Ground to the outside of that right foot, straighten that back leg. It may not feel nice, but it's going to be much better than if it's just sort of relaxed there. So really straighten that leg. And check that that knee is tracking over the foot, so it's not coming in or out. And when you're ready on your next inhale, arms parallel to the mat. Nice and strong, but relax the shoulders away from the ears. They tend to lift up here. Gazing over that front fingers, those front fingers. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On your next exhale, hands on the hips. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, release. Samastitihi. So the third warrior is going to be Virabhadrasana C, or Warrior 3. This one is traditionally done on the mat away from the wall, but we're going to use the wall today because it's actually quite a challenging standing posture. So you want to move your mat to the wall, or you can just leave it where it is. What you're going to do is bring your ankles and your knees under your hips. So you're going to stack your joints nicely here. Bring your hands to the wall. Really ground into that wall, like you're doing a downward dog, but we're somewhat inverted here. And imagining there's a 90-degree angle here between your thighs and your lower belly. And we're going to do the right leg grounded first, so right leg up first. So what you need to do here is really push away in that wall, ground into that left foot, and on the next inhale, lift that right leg up behind you. Now, don't lift the hip, keep the toes pointing down, and really push into that back heel. Your leg may not come up very far, and that does not matter. Keep that back leg straight, so don't just let it relax with the knee be bent. Really imagine as if there's a wall behind you that you're pushing that right foot into. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhaling, release. Take a moment here. Woo, it's going to be challenging. Left leg's going up this time, so once again, make sure you are really pushing into that wall, using that as part of your foundation. Exhaling, grounding into that right foot, switching that right leg on. Inhale, left leg up behind you. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, release. Inhale, coming up. And exhale. Whew. So we're going to use that wall again for the next posture. So Utkatasana, our chair pose. I love this posture, but we're going to do it slightly differently. We're actually going to use the wall. So the trick is that you want to keep your feet, once again, hips distance apart. And when you walk down the wall, you want to be able to come to a point where your knees are over your ankles, your feet are kind of hidden, your thighs are parallel, and there's a space between the thighs here. So your knees are not going out or coming in, they're in line with your hips. So hopefully you'll look something like what I'm doing now. So, aligning your feet, getting ready, and making sure that your back, your shoulder blades are pushed into that wall. You don't want to be leaning forward or arching out. You want to really be grounded into that wall, and your hands can go wherever they need to. I like to rest them on my thighs. So inhaling here to prepare. Exhale, releasing down. Holding here in this chair. Really switch your glutes on. Every part of your legs. Your lower belly for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shaking's good. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. On your next exhale, release up the wall. Whew. Hopefully your legs are feeling nice and active. So, you can bring your mat away from the wall and reset here. We're going to flow into a plank position from standing. We're going to have a little bit of fun with planks. So, exhaling, grounding into those feet. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Gaze to those thumbs. Exhale, hinging forward. Uttanasana. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, step the right foot back, followed by the left, holding here in a plank. So you don't want your hips to drop too far down, and you don't want them to be too high up. You're going to need to be engaged from your toes to your fingertips here to hold this plank. For 5, 4, rotate the inner arms forward. 3, 2, 1. Exhaling, drop the knees, sit back onto the heels. So, we're going to do a couple plank drills for fun. So, just to show you what that's like. So, you're coming from a plank, and on the exhale, you can drop the knees, lower the chest down, but hover off the floor. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog, and then we repeat again. If you have Chaturanga Dandasana in your practice, so Chaturanga for me is like so, you can work with that as well. But by all means do bring the knees down to the floor because it's quite tough. So, seated here, exhaling, emptying out the lungs. Get ready. Inhale, come forward to plank. Your choice, knees down or knees up. Exhale, lower, hover. Inhale, up to plank. Exhale, downward dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. You can also come back to child's pose if you like. Next, inhale, come forward. Exhale, release down. Inhale, up. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, down facing dog. Inhale, drop the knees. Exhale, tuck the toes, or the tops of the feet, and release forward into Balasana, or child's pose. And just take a moment here to let your breath settle, to return to your breath. Those planks can be very tough, so just let your breath settle again. So we're going to do some fun core activities now, and I use the word fun in my description of the word, so hopefully it still is for you on your side. So we're going to be playing around with Navasana or boat pose, and we're also going to be playing around with a little bit of twisting in the boat pose. So hopefully your legs are feeling nice and active and switched on. So Navasana for you today could be here, here, it could be here, one foot could be down, maybe one leg is straight, maybe both legs are straight, maybe your hands are here, maybe they're there. Whatever variation you're working with, you just don't want to collapse the spine, and you don't want to sink down towards the mat. You want to squeeze those knees and the shoulders in towards one another, like you're trying to get them to meet. That's the key action here. So we're going to play around with 3 rounds of Navasana or boat pose, and in between we're going to play with a lift. So I'll cue you to bring the knees in, cross the ankles, hands just in front of the hips, and inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Now, if your glutes do not get off the floor, it's totally fine. It's just that intention and playing around with that lift, okay? So bringing the feet in, toes together, knees bent. Inhale, lift the feet up. Coming into your version of Navasana. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, bend the knees, cross the ankles. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Legs back up. Your choice for Navasana for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, bend the knees, cross the ankles the other way. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Last round. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, bend the knees, cross the ankles. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Send the legs out in front of you to Dandasana. Whew. That's challenging, but hopefully fun. So we're going to do a little bit of strength work for the legs and a little bit of a twist. So we're going to we'll start with the right leg. So you really want to ground that left leg down. We're going to bring the right leg up. Doesn't matter how high up it goes. It can be here, it can be there, it can be there. So you're going to use the strength of your leg to keep that right leg up. And then we're going to twist towards it for a count of 5, okay? And then we'll repeat the other side. So, exhale, emptying out your lungs. Inhale, lift that right leg up, keep the spine nice and tall. Exhale, open out, don't grab the hand for 1, 2, don't grab the foot, 3, 4, 5, exhale, release. Whew. Other side, inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale. Open to the side for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, release. Ooh. So let's come to lower down onto the mat as we move towards our Shavasana. We're going to do a little bit more fun core work. So come onto your elbows and your forearms. Your palms are facing flat into the mat. You really want to grip the mat and push those elbows into the ground. Just make sure you're not dropping into your shoulders. You want to lift your chest away from the mat. Really switch those legs on, dorsiflex the toes, that's bringing them towards you. On your next inhale, lift the legs up to 90 or wherever you can get them to today. And we're going to go lower for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hover for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can drop the left foot or keep it hovered and raise the right leg for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the right leg for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hover that right leg or put the foot down to the mat. Left leg up for 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower for 5, 4. You can do it. 3, 2, 1. Hovering the feet for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Lowering down onto your mat. Whew, taking a moment here. I'm going to do a reclined or supine twist before Shavasana, so bringing your arms into a cactus pose. Inhale, knees in towards the chest. Exhale, send those knees over to the right, as far as they'll go today, grounding that left shoulder into the mat. On your next inhale, knees back to center. Exhale, knees to the left. Grounding that right shoulder. You can gaze up towards the ceiling, or maybe you want to look over to your right. Depends on how your neck feels today. Inhale, knees back to center. If you'd like, you can bring your legs down to the floor, go long. Otherwise, feet up to the ceiling once more. And lowering for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hover for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Bring yourself now into your Shavasana, whatever that looks like. Placing your legs, your feet, your hands, your arms, wherever they need to go. Letting your heart rate start to settle. Your breath start to slow and to calm. Time for you to let go of muscular engagement here. And tension. To let your body and perhaps your mind become still and soft. Taking these few minutes to do absolutely nothing. From your position on the mat, slowly starting to wake the body up once more, perhaps bringing some subtle movements to your limbs, your head and neck. Perhaps consciously lengthening and deepening your inhalations and exhalations. And when you're ready, gently rolling over onto your right hand side, taking a moment there. No rush at all. From this position on your side, mindfully and gently pushing yourself back up to a comfortable seated position, finding whatever that comfortable seat is for you at this moment. Maybe it's the same as the one that you started your practice with, maybe it's different. However you are seated, grounding into the earth with your lower body, lifting up to the sky with your upper body. And perhaps you'd like to place one hand over the other at your heart center, just above your sternum. Perhaps you'd like to bring your hands into Namaste or prayer. Your eyes can remain closed here or remain open, whatever feels right. And perhaps you'd like to bow towards those hands to your heart center. Give gratitude to yourself for practicing here today. And perhaps take this moment to give gratitude to someone or something else in your life. From this position here, gently blinking your eyes open to find yourself back in the space once more. Thank you so much for joining me here today on the mat for this practice. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day and your week ahead, and hopefully see you soon. Namaste.